Good afternoon. Happy Savage Saturday. Keepers of the Cash. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here. We're here with Savage Saturday Comic Review, episode 92. And I want to thank each and every one of you that watch this ongoing series and take the time to like and comment on the videos. Obviously, Savage Saturday Comic Review is a very niche show, and the people that watch it, like myself, have some very niche tastes, and I like having a show that services those very niche needs, and it's just nice to know that there's people out there that enjoy this content, and that we're coming up on the big 100 here in a little bit is really amazing to me. Thank you for all the support, and these are just an absolute labor of love and joy for me to do, and the fact that some of you are watching it and commenting and liking just brings me a lot of joy, and it connects me to you and our love of these old stories that you don't necessarily see around anymore. And yes, sometimes some new stories, but still in a niche market that not everybody reads. So it's a lot of fun for me. Hope it's a lot of fun for you, and I hope you continue to have fun. But without further ado, let's get into it. So this week's episode is going to be a story out of the Savage Sword of Conan, issue number 118, and we have Joe Jusko cover art, so really great cover there. A lot of fun. Whenever you get a cool monster, you're going to enjoy it. At least I do anyway, right? So we're going to open this up, and of course our story is called Valley of the Howling Shadows. So this has a little bit of horror to it, and obviously a lot of adventure. And like most stories told, with different writers, different artists, different creators, with a property as well known as Conan, some of these stories are spectacular. Some are very good, some are good, some are a little bit of a struggle because they don't understand the character well, and then some are poor. This one is in the good category. It has some hits, it has some misses, but what I really love about this is I was able to complete this collection last year. And when I was young, obviously I didn't get a lot of access to Savage Sword of Conan. Where we lived, there wasn't really a lot comic-wise to get a hold of, especially the magazines. It was a more adult title, which my parents didn't care. They let me read it. They knew how much of a Savage fan I was. And I read them when I got them. Obviously, I was missing most of them. It's been a joy to go through and read a lot of these for the first time, and experience stories and storytellers that I haven't read before, such as in this issue where our story is from a writer named Larry Yakata, who I don't believe I've read before. Now, we have artist Gary Kwapies, who is definitely an old Conan artist. He's done Conan a lot. So the art's solid. Letter Diana Albers, who I never heard of, and of course we have Larry Hama as our editor. But I was excited to read a story from someone I don't believe I've read before, or if I did read them before, it didn't really leave a mark, or I didn't, because I was younger, take the time to learn who the writer was. Something we get a taste for a little bit more once we've gotten older, right? Then we care more about who's the artist behind the art, who's the writer behind these words. This story is great. Why didn't I ever look at who wrote this before, right? Because when you're a kid, you just care about having a good adventure. When you're an adult, you care about following people that create content you like, because you're much more happy to read their stuff knowing that they're going to give you the product that you want. Without further ado, though, let's get into this. We got on the first page these guys, these lookouts, and they're looking for Conan. Now, Conan has just choked out a guy behind them, and he comes over and slaughters them, and Conan is on his way. Now, what has happened here is Conan has stolen a golden chalice. He thinks that there's more to it, and that there's something connected to it because of how persistently these guys pursue him. And as you can see in the next page, which is a 2-page spread and has the titles on it for the story, that Conan is making his way away from them across the desert, and in hot pursuit are all of these guards just because he has stolen a golden chalice. And kind of sets you up to think there's more to the chalice than there is. But this is the concept that has our barbarian on the run. And he is running out of real estate. They're chasing him, but he is getting towards the edge where there's a big gorge and nowhere for him to go. Now, these guys are chasing him up around, and it's kind of like a winding road, right? It's going up. There's an edge there, and Conan's running out of real estate. They're quickly gaining on him, one or two of them. Conan slices one guy's throat open and then cuts the horse's throat open, which is unusual for Conan. He doesn't usually harm beasts unless they're going to harm him. But this one served its savage purpose. He needed the beast to fall to trip over the other pursuers, who go tumbling over the cliff, and takes out a good score of their mounts that were riding hard and fast behind the first guy, giving Conan a little breathing space to make his way. And once up there, an earthquake starts hitting, everything starts crumbling, and Conan launches his horse across the ravine, over the gorge, and lands sparingly on the other side. Now, he promises his horse some oats with some silver and some good eating for the horse, because it saved his hide, helping him get across in a way. And Conan comes across this nameless village, and it's a place not on a map that he's never heard of. The people there are a little quiet, a little weird, and he goes to a local tavern thinking, well, if nothing else, I can at least have some ale before I'm on my way again to sell this chalice, right? So, coffee. So Conan approaches the tavern, and there's a guy just mumbling strange stuff. And Conan makes an observation. He's like, "You're blocking the door." He's like, "Wait, that guy wasn't drunk. He was a permanent casualty." And Conan enters, and there's all sorts of disarray, as there is in a bar, right? You have one guy that's crying at a table, a bunch of other people that are laughing. They're having a good time. And he finds that they're drinking this juice that's only made once a year, this wine. And it's called Juke. And now there's going to be a lot of weird names in this one that I'm going to either pronounce correctly, struggle with, or mispronounce. So as I go along, point and laugh as necessary, but we'll get through it. All right. And it comes from a plant named a Zuma plant. And they're telling Conan that it's found only one day each year in tiny patches high up in the mountains. But there is a place where it grows plentifully. And it's called the Valley of Howls. And in this valley, there's also great riches. Conan is trying to sell his chalice there. And nobody really cares about it. To the point where, we'll get there. I'm getting ahead of myself. So Conan's like, why not? I'll try this once a year ale if it's such a rarity. And he drinks it. But as he drinks it, this hooded figure comes in, and Conan takes notice. The bartender, it's like, pay him no notice. He's harmless. He comes in here. He trades and buys stuff with the local merchants here. And he shows the tavern keeper the golden chalice. And the tavern keeper's not impressed. He doesn't want to buy it. Says he can't give Conan much for it. And Conan threatens him. And he goes, look, sire, please, I beg you. I'm not lying. If you do not believe me, then see for yourself behind that door. And behind that door, allergies. Behind that door is where the hooded figure went. And he's out there, and he's trading goods with a local merchant. So Conan after the hooded figure leaves, Conan takes his chalice to the guy that was buying from the hooded figure, and the guy's like, he goes, it's a pretty piece indeed, but it is of no use to me. I'll give you a few shekels for it if you like. And Conan's like, do you know what it cost me to get this? He tells the guy the story of him running, and the guy's like, that is no concern of mine. Shall we say 3 shekels? And Conan's just pondering. He's like, it would seem to me that in such a remote and unguarded village, you and your riches could be easy prey for cutthroats and thieves, unless paid handsomely for protection. So Conan's kind of putting it out there. Look, you can pay me for protection, but Conan's trying to make a coin any way he can. But as he's starting to have this conversation, this woman comes up. Her name is Shamil. And she announces herself. I am Shamil. Few men like you venture through here. You remind me of a man, very much of a man I once loved. Perhaps that is why I am so bold. And Conan forgets his troubles with the chalice and goes to retire upstairs with the beautiful Shamil. Now, as Conan goes up the stairs, the Duke hits him and he starts having some hallucinations. Whew. And she says, let me see, and she tells him, because Conan's seeing demons all of a sudden. He's like, our back demons are worse, back once, let me. She's like, please stop, lay down your broadsword, and what you've seen here is not real. It is only the Duke weaving its opponent magic. And things start to settle down, and she has kind of a different look to her as Conan's feeling the effects of the juice. But he wakes up in the morning, she's there, and they apparently had a lovely evening together, and Conan's preparing to leave, but she doesn't want him to go just yet. He's definitely in an odd village, but Conan needs to be on his way, and she tells Conan the story of the guy that he reminds her of, and how he was he was a reckless scoundrel, much like him, and he went in search of the Valley of Howls and never came back. And as Conan's listening to her tell her tale, the guys he thought that he had gotten rid of more arrive at the village in pursuit of him, and they're screaming, "Hearken, death will come to any who hides the Northland brigand thief." And Conan jumps out the window of the second story where he's at, and he's down and among these guys in a moment, cutting them down and just slaying them to a man. And the savageness of Conan is just on full display here. As he's jumping down, he's like, a razor sharp broadsword is a warrior's stock and trade. And he goes, in this day it will be most sorely tested. So Conan is slaying them. One guy sneaks up behind him and with a dagger and takes the dagger to the back himself that's thrown off panel. And the next panel reveals that it was Shamil who saved the barbarian. And he's like, well, not to overstay our welcome, thanks for the assist, woman. And he grabs her, and they are on their way out of the small, nameless village. They are still in pursuit, and Conan is trying to race them away. And she's telling Conan, I know these mountains. You're racing toward a cliff edge without an escape. And Conan's like, that may be, but at the moment, I have little choice. And Conan gets to the highest peak, and he waits for the riders to get there, and then he jumps down in among them. So Conan's savagery in this issue, in this story, is on full display. And, and Conan's screaming. He's got his war cry on. He's got his Sumerian red rage working. He's like, ruthless hyenas, or gutless hyenas. You've hounded me long enough. I'll spare no one. And he is not intimidated by their numbers at all, and he is in them and destroying them. But while they're in the middle of fighting, the very peak they're on starts to crumble. Some of the guard go over the edge, and that's twice Conan's been on the precipice of something that's not very safe, and the battle has caused it to have like earthquake results and crumble. Now, is it the region Conan's in, or is there more to the story? Conan grabs a girl who's tumbling over the edge and saves her. And there are a few brigands left. And they're all hurting. And Conan asks Shamil, are you hurt? She's like, I think not. He goes, well, then let me finish a small chore. And, he's like, pay little heed to your suffering, pit leeches, for I'll gladly put an end to it soon. And Conan's going to slay the rest. But the rest that are remaining just rise up like, no, look, Mitra Set and Ishtar, have mercy. We're only guardsmen following orders. We joined the Sakirs just to get enough to eat, please. So they don't really have a vendetta against Conan. They're just being paid to pursue him. And Conan calls them whimpering fools, that they're not worth killing. But if they get in his way again, he won't mind making sure they don't get up again. So he tells them to leave him alone and not get in his path. And Conan and Shamil set out again after the quake and the craziness that just ensued. And Conan says, the quake has riven a path through the rock wall into a mist-shrouded valley. So now that quake has given Conan and Shamil no choice but to enter the Valley of Howls. And again, Gary Corpiz's art is quite nice in this issue. Getting a good spread of everything. So they're making their way down. And Conan is traveling with her. And everything's kind of quiet. But Conan kind of hears something at a distance with his great hearing. And he tells her to stay put. And he comes across the guys that he just let live following them. And he's like, blasphemy, it's you sniveling worms again. And one of the guys like, I told you he would discover us. And Conan's like, don't test my patience, scum. I've already spared your worthless lives once. And they're like, we have nowhere to go. We have nowhere to get food or make money. Just allow us to accompany you. And Conan lets him go and says, just stay out of my way. So they tell him that it was the bravery from the juke that they drank that gave them the bravery to follow him anyway. And they say, look, we heard there's great treasure in here. You'll need people to help you carry out the treasure you find. You can carry more with us with you. And Conan finally relents and lets them come along. But as they're entering this valley, a great beast appears. And it's hideous in its nature. And it's a combination of a few things. And it has a warning for them. It says, I am the oracle of the entrance to the Valley of Howls. Take heed, for this will be your only warning. Ye who would enter here, leave all behind. Suspend belief, logic, everything, for you are about to enter a place of nightmares and the unspeakable. This is the place of Emak. And Conan's like, what the crom is Emak? And the beast flies away and like screams, no hope. And we'll give you a quick look at the beast. Right, giving the warnings to Conan and crew. So there we go. And just a fun little creature, right? So they're all around the campfire that night, and Conan's telling them to stay out of his way. And they're all kind of plotting. They think they're out of earshot of Conan. And there's two thieves that have gone to the sides, and they're judging Conan, right? Saying he's a thief that acts like a king. He's no better than the rest of us, and he covets the only woman without sharing. And he's like, wait till he finds a way back, and when his back is turned, we'll garrote him like the rest of us, skewer his ribs with daggers. Oh, and it's turned, blah, 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 blah. We'll garrote him while the rest of us skewer his ribs with daggers. Then the woman in the gold will be ours alone. So this guy's convincing the other guy that it's just going to be him and that dude, and everyone else they'll take care of. So how would that dude trust him, right? Back in the encampment in Conan's tent, he's got Shamil in there, and he's just getting ready to lay with her when there's a scream. And a demon is flying by with a woman on his back, and Conan and them are now roused and take off to go see what the trouble is. Now, what they find is just a scene of grotesquery. A bunch of people are being led, humans, by a bunch of just hideous monsters. Enslavement, for food, for whatever these monsters have in mind for them. And as you can see, it's just a scene of grotesque. Now, Conan hears the guards screaming. He comes back, and there's a great beast there with one of the guardsmen already dead. And so that's one less thief that's going to try to betray Conan. And Conan is not too happy because now he's going to have to fight this thing. There's no way past it except to fight it. Conan says, it's as ugly as it is strong, but it's slow. He goes, it's nothing good Hyrcanian steel won't take care of. And Conan fights this monster, and of course he ends up triumphant. And when he cuts it open, there's a surprise, right? They're like, Mitras, help us. Do my eyes deceive me? I see gemstones within. The ogre must have been hoarding it. And all the guards just start tearing into the guts, and the thieves now, start tearing into the guts of the thing to divvy up all the treasure that is within the folds of this thing's belly. So they're getting richer as they go into this. and another hideous monster is slain. And they descend deeper into this valley, and they think they see a couple more humans, but when they turn them around, they are the face of demons, and they are quite grotesque themselves. Now, I like this story with the horror tinges in it. I always like Conan with a little bit of horror in it, just as much as I like it with the fantasy in it. So this story has been appealing to me the whole time I read it. And they ride past them, leave them alone. One of them was asking if Conan's related to them, and Conan's just not giving it any time. And they come across another place, and they're entering this village, and there's another tavern there. So they go in there to have some ale. Sorry, a little more coffee. The throat's dry from so much talking. And it appears at first to be a tavern like any other. You have one guy approach Conan that says, "You seem to have an eye for gold and other such finery." Because Conan has noticed that everyone has gold and treasures out. No one's trying to hide their purses, which is odd in a tavern where you're not trying to show your wealth at all for fear someone will slit your throat and take it from you. But everyone in this tavern has it. So it lets them know it doesn't really have value here. It's around aplenty. The people don't need it. They have no need of it. But so this one guy notices him. He goes, "You seem to have an eye for gold and other such finery. Yeah, I can see you are not of this land, for such things are commonplace here." From the gates, of course. And Conan's like, "The gates?" He's like, "Hey, for a drink and the pleasure of anointing thee, I would show you the way." And Conan's like, "You can have the drink." Conan's not falling for it. And the guy's like, you are my son, are you not? The gods sent you to me." And Conan's like, "What are the gates?" And the guy draws a blade on Conan and tries to attack him. And Conan, with one sweep of his broadsword, severs the guy's head from his shoulders, and think that's the end. But the body picks up the head as the head still talks. And it's a sight Conan is certainly not used to. And neither is his traveling companion, Shamil. And as it ascends up the stairs, he says, "Perhaps we'll meet again at the gates. It will be your salvation or your demise. Just follow the skulls the way they will lead the way." And but the thing dropped the dagger that it was trying to stab Conan with, and Shamil recognizes it as her old lover's dagger, who had never returned from here. And now she's holding up hope that he is still alive somewhere in this valley. Conan and Shamil set out for the gate so they can leave this place. And the thieves that are with him, the former guards, are saying, Conan, abandon the search. No good can come from it. And Conan's like, "Look, go where you want. My path leads over this bridge, and you can do as you like." But once over the bridge, they're passing a valley that's littered with skulls and skeletons and heads on pikes. And they're on the run. From what? They don't know yet. But there's definitely a presence there, and none of them are about waiting around to see what it is. And they enter this structure, this old, dilapidated, kind of crumbling structure, and there's an eerie glow inside. Kind of like flickering candles that are about to be snuffed out. And one of them says, "I smell some sickly sweet incense wafting through my nose." And he goes, "And do you hear that?" And the other guy's like, "Hey, like the cries and whimpers of some dark, dreaded vespers." And they find some stairs that descend into a dungeon-like area, so down they go. But the noise is growing louder the deeper they get. And once they get down there, they see it's a tomb of the dead, and there's some grave robbers down there. Conan sets to slaying them before they can slay him. And while that's going on, the two thieves that are with him and former guards now, right? Instead of helping Conan, they've noticed that the corpses are littered with treasure, and they're doing their bit to fleece the corpses of what treasure is up on them. Another guy attacks Conan, and Conan just kills the guy outright. I'm sorry, that's the guy. Conan grabs the guy, throws him down, is about to kill him outright when Shamil recognizes him and begs Conan to not kill him, that it's her former lover. The guy kind of comes to his senses and kisses Shamil, and then the cloaked apparition appears again. And Conan holds up some jewels on her and goes, I want none of this or your evil place. I just want out. And the apparition points the way for Conan to leave. And he tells Shamil, that's the way out if you want to come. And she's like, Conan, I can't. Please try and understand. He's like, blast, so be it. I'll not be swallowed by the earth's tormented groans. And Conan escapes out through the exit that the cloaked figure pointed out. And thus is the end of our tale. And then we have a great pin up here of Conan. This one by Mike Dougherty. But overall, I'd say this is a B-tale. It had some strengths to it. Conan was definitely in character. He was definitely savage, definitely ready to fight. Him slaying the horse in the beginning threw me off his character a little bit, which is not something Conan normally would do, right? But he was trying to save his hide, and by slaying the beast, he felled a bunch of other people with the slaying. Again, it was just like from one thing to another, which isn't bad. It makes it fun. The pacing was fun, but you never felt like there was any true purpose to Conan's direction, right? There wasn't a true quest of any kind. It was just Conan falling into one circumstance after another, but there was no end goal in this except for Conan wanting to escape each situation he falls into. So I thought the writing was fun, but with the lack of a task or a mission for Conan to accomplish, it lacked a little something in that. And the ending was very it was a letdown, right? Nothing really big happened at the end. He slew a couple grave robbers, which is nothing for Conan, right? And when he comes across, I mean, the big climatic fight was with that beast, and that happened halfway through the story. No big final battle. Conan just gets pointed in a direction, and he's free to go. So I thought the ending lacked quite a bit. Still a fun tale in certain things. One I didn't mind reading at all. I still had a lot of fun with it. This probably will be... This will be a C+ story, right? Not the greatest by far. I would probably not seek out that writer a lot because it doesn't seem like I said, there was no end goal for this story for Conan. He was just trying to escape each circumstance he was in. So there was no overall developing plot, nothing happening. The only thing you had going was a side story of her trying to find her old lover again, and it was okay. But overall, a C+. We'll give the art a B. And not the best Conan story, but a day with a Conan story is better than a day without a Conan story. So that's all I got for you today, guys. Until next time, keep it casual. Attention all, use channel sponsor Rogue Trader at theroguetraderutah.com and my code KEEPITCASUAL for 10% off your comic cleaning and pressing needs. Remember, when submitting your books to be graded, use a trusted professional.